Elsa farum, Elsa grüne Hagen, Elsa lille bror. Om jag hade vingar, flögen jag med dig. Svala flyg med hemmet, hälsa ifrån mig. When I was a kid, the old Swedes would sing that and try not to cry. Mormor's house. The new baby comes home to Mormor's house. Mormor means mother's mother in Swedish. Morfar is here too, but it is always Mormor's house. And in 1947 it is crowded with ex-Marines. But they say there's no such thing as an ex-Marine. Back from Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima, pregnant brides, uncles, kids, and now another baby. The new baby is favored with the best room in Mormor's house, which he shares with only his parents and his 4-year-old brother. Mormor lays him in his crib in the corner and lilts, "Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite." The child comes home to Mormor's house for his first sleepover since moving to a 3-decker 2 miles closer to downtown. All the Marines and wives and kids have moved out to homes of their own, except Morbror Don, who has given up on his Australia and his Aussie bride and kid and come home. The small child feels at home too. After all, he lived here for nearly the first 2 years of his life, and Mormor has been allowed to wipe his bum many, many times. But when she innocuously makes some mention of what his mother might be doing at the moment, his self-assurance crumbles. He has never before realized a sense of separation, and it devastates him, even in the sanctuary of Mormor's house. He sobs hysterically until she telephones his mother to come and pick him up. The word-drunk kid comes home to Mormor's house to use it as his own quiet playhouse and reading room. Mormor gives him a heaping bowl of ice cream and returns to her relentless house cleaning. 3 days a week, she also cleans house for a Jewish family which owns the biggest diamond store in Worcester. The hygiene standards of a Swedish maid are legendary. Morfar sits on Mormor's back steps, sipping a glass of Knickerbocker beer from a case of quartz in the cellar, smoking a pipe. The word-drunk kid has cracked Morbror Don's bookshelf. Morbror Don is the family intellectual. He has a bookshelf. The best thing is the complete Sherlock Holmes in 6 volumes, handsomely bound. Well, at least they're not paperbacks. The 13th century British vocabulary, carbuncle, orange pips, made his toilet, staggers but does not derail him, and he is hooked. He understands nearly all the words in The Sun Also Rises, and already knows that Hemingway is reputedly the greatest living American author, but he just doesn't quite get it. Where's the triumph he's come to expect from reading cheesy historical novels? So he reads it again, and again. He understands Guadalcanal Diary, but can't truly envision the carnage. And Morbror Don politely shrugs off his questions. "Did you kill any Japs?" "I don't know. I shot at a lot of them, but it's hard to see much in the jungle," was his longest speech on the matter. The word-drunk kid founds a pirates club, which is really a pirates club, apostrophe S, since he's the only member, which meets at a round table in Mormor's cellar. He draws a circle on a piece of paper, fills it in with ink, and writes, "He who finds the black spot shall die tomorrow." He folds the piece of paper and very surreptitiously drops it in the street in front of Mormor's house. It's just a little joke, of course, to shock someone, wake someone up, make someone think. But what if it's picked up by someone with a weak heart and a superstitious nature? Har har. 3 days later, half a block away with his head in the moon, he innocently picks up a vaguely familiar piece of paper himself and fervently hopes that this time at least he has overestimated the power of words. The young hippie comes home to Mormor's house with evangelical fervor after the summer of love in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury. Morbror Don sits on Mormor's back steps, sipping shots of whiskey from a pint of Seagram 7 and smoking a Camel filter, unfiltered of course. Filters are new and marketed for women. Mormor still gives the young hippie and his brother heaping bowls of ice cream. His brother, a hellraiser, no Marines in this generation, who is always dressed like a gentleman, wears around his neck a god's eye, brilliant, multi-hued strands of yarn twirled into a diamond pattern around the arms of a unilateral wooden cross. "Ish," says Mormor. "You too?" The young hippie says, "I made that for her, Mormor." And her eyes grow moist. It's the first time he has ever seen that happen to her. She says, "We always hurt the one we love." The old hippie comes home to Mormor's house, where his mother lives now that Mormor and Muffar and Morbruer Don are gone. His daughter and nieces and nephews, I'll call it Graham's house now. His father has done all the upkeep on the house for more than 50 years, painting, plumbing, electrical, heating, ever since the newlywed days when he first lived there, and even during all the decades when he didn't. But today is his funeral. The house is full of brothers, sisters, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, even a new generation Marine in full dress uniform. The old hippie sits on Mormor's back steps, sipping a Samuel Adams lager from a case of 12 ounces in the cellar, smoking hand-rolled cigarettes and blended half-dark Dutch shag. He has lived in California for more than 30 years and has not made many new friends in Worcester, where the dead ones now outnumber the living. He begins to jot down notes for a story that will be called A Ghost Among the Ghosts. The uncle comes home to Morbruer's house, and his Marine sergeant nephew has come home too, and is ensconced in the best room. They make a joke of it. The nephew's parents have long since divorced and have new partners and new houses, so when he comes home from Iraq to recuperate from a roadside bombing, it is to Mormor's house. He's old enough to remember her too. Graham gives him heaping bowls of ice cream, and as his broken jaw heals, his favorite childhood meals of macaroni and cheese with hamburger and canned tomatoes, and creamed tuna and peas on toast. His right arm is torn up from shrapnel, and he's missing a lot of teeth, but he has all his fingers and toes, brains and balls. He also has a 9 months pregnant bride, and they stay up late at night in Mormor's kitchen talking politics and philosophy and tactics with the uncle. The day the uncle returns to California, the new baby comes home to Mormor's house.